The beer you drink is awful, but it doesn't have to be. There are countless local breweries all over the country that make great beer. Amazing beer, also known as craft beer. Beer you can savor rather than chug. Each week, we'll take you to a brewery, brew pub, or beer festival, give you a tour, and then drink the beer. All of it, for the betterment of mankind. The beer you drink can be great. So put down that red party cup and start drinking beer like an adult. This is Crafty.
Welcome to Crafty, the web series about great local beer. Today we're at Stone Brewing Company in North County, San Diego. This is a growler. You buy it at your local brewery, fill it with your favorite beer, and take home and reuse. Now I'm gonna get this thing filled with the highest octane beer they make. Then I'm gonna go home and watch NASCAR until it looks like they're turning right. But before we do that, let's take a tour.
Hey guys, welcome to Stone Brewing Company.
How's it going?
I'm Ken, Minister of Indoctrination and Evangelism.
Sweet, how about a tour?
Let's get some beer first. Well, what we have here is the good stuff. Anything worthy of calling itself beer should have these ingredients in it. We've got water, of course, but the heart and soul of really any craft beer is malted barley. So I'm gonna have you guys eat some malted barley. And it's a little dry, a little crunchy. The more you chew it though, the softer and sweeter it gets. Tastes kind of like grape nuts.
That's exactly like grape nuts.
And of course, we've also got hops. At Stone, we use a lot of hops. This is possibly the best smelling 100 square feet in North San Diego County.
I wish my apartment smelled like this.
Hops are a member of the cannabis family. So whether or not you'd really want your apartment to smell this way, well, I'm not here to judge. So that's the hop locker. It smells like a bakery out here because what we're doing is we're milling all that malted barley. It's gonna be deposited into the grist case. Then we're gonna mix it with hot water and that's when things start happening. So this is our brew house. Your basic brew house consists of three things. It consists of a mixing bowl, which is right over there. The second container is a strainer vessel. It's called a lauter tun, and that's basically where we're gonna separate all the liquid sugar we want from that mixture of grain and water, which is known as mash. The next step is the boil kettle. Cooking is going to improve the flavor. It's going to cook away the flavors we don't want. This is also where we're going to add the hops. So the whole cycle takes about 6 hours or so, and then we're going to send it over into the fermenters. When the yeast is in here fermenting all that sugar into alcohol, it's also producing carbon dioxide. You want a little bit of that CO2 in your beer. That's what carbonates the beer and makes it refreshing. But when you're on this scale, I mean, we've got 12,000 gallons of fermenting beer in these tanks. You're walking a fine line between bubbles in your beer and basically blowing up the facility. Our origin is very similar to that of a lot of craft breweries. It's basically a home brewer hooking up with someone who knows how to shake the money tree a little bit. That was Greg Cook, who's now our CEO, and Steve Wagner, who's now our president. Steve was the brewer, Greg was the entrepreneur. They met each other in the music industry. It was rock and roll that sort of gave rise to this whole thing. That was in 1996. The first beer we made was Stone Pale Ale. So we did 150,000 barrels last year, and of course in 96 we did 400 barrels. Our growth is not slowing down either. We're building a second brew house this summer. We're gonna fill out the entire floor with more tanks. As soon as we're done with that project, we're gonna get started breaking ground on the hotel across the street.
Now, Ken, we'd really like to get some more specific information about the beers that you guys make.
You know, I know somebody who can definitely help you out with that. The guy who makes it. That would be our brewmaster, Mitch Steele. So let me take you over to where he's at.
We're here with Mitch Steele, brewmaster of Stone Brewing Company. How are you doing, Mitch?
Great, how are you?
Very good. We've got a couple hard-hitting questions for you, Mitch.
Okay.
So, Mitch, when are you gonna come out with like a light beer in a 40? First question I have to get out of the way is, the rumors floating around on the internet is that Stone originally didn't mean to make Arrogant Bastard Ale. It was some kind of an accident. They were shooting for something else.
You know, that was before my time at Stone, but Steve and Greg were brewing a batch of beer, and Steve misweighed the ingredients that went into the beer and wasn't happy about it. I don't know what he was trying to make. Greg convinced Steve to just let the beer ferment through and see what it tasted like, and it turned out to be something that they both really liked. Happy accident. That happens a lot in brewing.
So, Mitch, I understand that you used to work for Budweiser. What kind of is the difference between commercial beer and craft beer?
My experience with the big brewers was it was much more marketing driven. And so it was more based on what people were already drinking With craft brewing, you're trying to set the trends. It's about experimentation. It's about not being afraid to take risks with your beer, and I think that's the biggest difference.
So Mitch, what's the difference between a pale ale and an Indian pale ale, an IPA?
Okay, well, a pale ale is a golden to amber colored beer. It's usually around 5% alcohol by volume. India Pale Ale, by definition, needs to be dry hopped, which is a process where you put fresh hops into the fermenter. India Pale Ale is going to be higher alcohol and hoppier in flavor, where a pale ale is going to have more of a malt hop balance to it.
Mitch, we hear a lot of jargon thrown about things like IBU, ABV, ICP, TCP, IP, port connections.
ABV stands for alcohol by volume, and it's the standard industry measurement for alcohol in your beer. IBU stands for International Bitterness Units, and that is the standard measurement of the bitterness in beer as contributed by hops. A macro brew is probably around 10 IBUs. A standard pale ale is usually about 40 IBUs. An India Pale Ale is 60, 70, 80 IBUs typically.
So I know you guys do a whole bunch of collaborations. Do you have anything upcoming that you're going to be doing special with anyone?
Every year we pick a home brewer's recipe to do a beer with to enter at the Pro-Am competition at the Great American Beer Festival. This year's beer we picked it's a mint chocolate imperial stout that was just amazing, and that was brewed by a home brewer named Ken Schmidt, and we're going to do that beer with Iron Fist Brewery out in Vista.
Mitch, Stone is always evolving and becoming a bigger and bigger company. You have so much space and so much going on all the time. How do you stay true to your small craft beer roots when you've got such a big operation going?
That's a very fair question. I think part of the thing to look at with Stone Brewing Company is we're always driven by the beer. You've walked through our brewery, you've seen all the barrel projects we've got going on. We've got pilot brewers going on all the time. We hire people that are craft brewers, and they're doing things on a small scale. They may not make it out into a bottle, but it's still getting creative and learning about ingredients and seeing what we can do that may be different than what we've done before. And we have some beers that have done very well for us that we make a lot of, but it's still driven by taste, and that's what really drives our brewing process, is how does the beer taste.
Sounds great, Mitch. How about we try the beer?
Yeah, that sounds good. Let's do it. This is Stone Levitation Ale. This is our lowest alcohol beer, and it's got a nice roasted malt character, and it is dry hopped with Amarillo hops. Next one, that is Stone Pale Ale, and that is our very first beer and is one of our more popular beers right now. It's kind of a combination of an English pale ale style and an American pale ale style. The next beer here is Stone Smoked Porter, which is brewed with a little bit of peat smoked malt, which gives it a nice smoky character. The next beer is Stone IPA. It is a dry hopped beer, 6.9% alcohol. The beer after that is Cali Belgique IPA, which is Stone IPA, wort fermented with a Belgian yeast. Next beer is Arrogant Bastard Ale. Again, is one of our signature flagship beers, big, strong American ale. The beer after that, this is Oaked Arrogant Bastard Ale, and that is Arrogant Bastard Ale that's been aged on oak chips for 3 days and totally changes the character of the beer. The beer after that, Stone Ruination IPA, our Imperial IPA. It's a bigger version of an IPA. Again, it's dry hopped with Chinook at a much higher rate than we dry hop Stone IPA. And the last beer here is Stone Sublimely Self-Righteous Ale, which is our black IPA. It looks dark, it's got a little hint of roast, there's some more flavor complexity, but it drinks like an IPA, just nice and hoppy and refreshing.
Perfect, Mitch. Thank you so much. We
You're
look forward
welcome.
to it, sir.
Really appreciate it.
Enjoy the beers.
Let's get to work.
So the first one here is the Stone Levitation Ale.
It's got enough of a big, bold character to make it worth my time. Not just a sissy, fizzy yellow beer, some Colorado Kool-Aid. And I like the amber color of it.
Moving on, we got Stone Pale Ale.
I feel everything should be dry hopped. Birthday cake, lemonade, iced tea, what have you.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't have such a high hoppy bitterness.
Very sweet and very smooth.
Yes.
You get a little bit of the bite from the hops near the end, but it's very mellow, almost muted compared to some of the bigger IPAs.
This one is the Stone Smoked Porter. It's very rich, it's very creamy. It's definitely a step away from most of Stone's normal beers.
The thing that really stands out for me is he said there was some peat smoked malts in there, and you can really taste those. And that's what really has got me sold on this beer. Next we have the Stone IPA.
Yeah, so that is a significant jump from the Pale Ale. Has that high bitterness quality to it. I really like the citrus though.
Yeah, lots of that grapefruity kind of citrusy twang that you get from all your hops. There's no extra frills in there. There's plenty of hard-hitting hop flavor. I don't know what else to say about it. It's f***ing delicious.
Yeah, it's just really good.
So up next is the Cali Belgique.
Yeah, Stone Cali Belgique IPA. He said that literally the only difference between the Stone IPA and the Stone Cali Belgique IPA is the type of yeast that they use.
Yeast is a big part of beer, but as a gentleman who doesn't really deal in microorganisms, I don't think about it that often.
Obviously.
The difference in the profile, it kind of turns the corner from bitter and gets it more in the sour range. That's what I'm kind of getting on my tongue. Up next is what some would call Stone's most recognizable beer. We're talking about, of course, Arrogant Bastard Ale.
It's classified under an American strong ale. I think the thing I like about this is that it is extremely hoppy, but at the same time, you still get all of those other characteristics with the maltiness. It is sweet, you know, even though it has that bitterness to it. It's kind of just all really well-rounded and extremely strong.
Easily one of my favorite Stone beers. Really, what I'm getting hit with is the kind of malty caramel deal. Not very sweet, very bitter. Really comes alive and dances like the Nutcracker sweet across my palate.
It really, all right.
Shut up.
All right, so the next one that I'm equally excited about is the Oaked Arrogant Bastard Ale.
One of my favorites. It's got the same bold, punch your tongue in the face kind of profile that the Arrogant Bastard Ale has, but it's also got that sweet, tangy kind of vanilla aftertaste.
It's smoother, it really is. It goes down cleaner.
It does, it mellows it out. Is this the same ABV, do you know? Yes.
The same ABV.
God damn it.
Do you know, Grant, is this the same ABV as the Arrogant Bastard Ale?
Well, Aaron. you. Moving on to the Stone Ruination IPA. That has got a big, bold, loud hop flavor.
Yeah, definitely.
It does taste like a dramatically larger amount of hops.
Yes, very distinct, very good though. Next though, we got the Stone Sublimely Self-Righteous Ale, which is actually a black IPA.
It's refreshing though to kind of venture in a different way instead of just, you know, hops, yeast, water, and then that's your typical West Coast style IPA that a lot of the kids are making nowadays. This one, it doesn't have too much going on to it, but it's just complex enough to make it a very exciting beer.
It has all the characteristics of an IPA, but it takes away from the bite of an IPA. I wouldn't put it in the same category, obviously, as the Arrogant Bastard Ale, but it has that same complexity to it.
All right, Aaron, let's get down to it.
I'm gonna say that honorable mention will definitely go to Stone Sublimely Self-Righteous Ale. Black IPAs are my favorite when it comes to the IPA family.
Well, it's a real tough choice. However, if I had to say honorable mention goes to the Oaked Arrogant Bastard Ale. What about number one? Who is Miss America?
Number one for me would definitely be the Stone Smoked Porter. I definitely love a porter. If you add any smokiness to any beer, I'm gonna love it even more.
I'm gonna have to go with the Stone Cali Belgique IPA. An IPA with just a little twist of that European style, that Belgian classic yeast, which makes it all the more exciting. So what about Tom?
Stone Ruination IPA.
Nice. Well, there you have it.
I hadn't noticed until just now, but we are in a very beautiful beer garden. How about we take a walk?
Let's do that.
Well, that's enough of that.
Yep.
That's it for this episode of Crafty. For more information about Stone Brewing Company, please visit their website. And as always, remember, drink responsibly. And by that I mean, don't just drink whatever's on sale.